You know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is? Check the clock. Do you know what time it is? Check the clock. Do you know what time it is? Check the clock. Do you know what time it is? Check the clock. Do, do. Now put your Gucci watch on. Synchronize time. Ladies and gentlemen, come on into the building. I know I'm sometimes late. Sometimes it's late. Sometimes I be on time. You know what I mean? Double D, and of course Bree, Double D, Bree Skywalker. What's up, people? Oh yeah, you know, we've all seen some of this case, right? Megan the Stallion. It's sort of opening the Megan the Stallion and her homegirl. You start to see really different cases where women can be very foul to each other. Women can be very foul to each other over men, or when it comes to eggplants, when it comes to a guy and the testicles and all that. Women, y'all women sometimes treat each other very, very bad. You could be best friends, y'all. Y'all could be best friends and you would still find a way to want something that your friend has, to be jealous of something that your girlfriend has, to steal or to take something. Although it's difficult to just take somebody's man away, right? That's tough. That takes two people, but your friend is the one with the design to take your man, either when you're with him at that time or right when y'all break up. She's gonna be right there, whoop-de whoop-de whoop, sleeping with, dating the same guy. Sometimes y'all ladies treat each other really, really bad. And this video was sort of going to talk about that with respect to this carbonation thing, this velvet situation. And you're probably going to have to rewind and bring it all the way back to Zoka. Or even rewind, bring it all the way back to the original mama, the original first lady of carbonation, which is Yaya. You know, and then the next thing you know, there was a woman that comes in, whether there was real polygamy or not, which was not. There's a woman that comes into carbonation and wants to be in the front. So there's this weird vibe where women in this cult were jealous of each other and all sort of vying for the attention of the cult leader. They wanted to be the chiefess. But look at what some of you women do. And what did Velvet do? Oh my goodness. It's a whole dynamic here. Oh, one time your friend told your boyfriend, oh wow. It was either we're all gonna get this dude or none of us is, right? It ain't no fun till the homies can't have none. Same thing with some of the ladies, apparently. Damn. But what we saw recently is that Velvet told Solar, apparently, that she was toxic. So Velvet was toxic, right? In some way, shape, or form. Let's talk about it. And we got to talk about Zoka because Neytiri was basically not even listening to Zoka. Neytiri wanted Solar, but Neytiri knew that this Solar individual was already married or was already with Zoka. But Neytiri thinks that her something don't stink. Neytiri thinks she's like that. And you could tell maybe in other men that she's involved herself with, this Neytiri one, she wants to sneak up behind the women that's already with the man, and she wants to take over the position. That's sort of what Neytiri did with the Zoka and Solar thing. And you're also sort of seeing, I guess, what Velvet did. And when Velvet came on the scene recently to get with this dude, Weirdo Solar, after the fall of Carbonation, Velvet had started talking about she was like, this is what you get. This is what you get, Neytiri, for not knowing how to treat that man that you had. Velvet came onto the scene with ulterior motives and maybe some sort of a evil or payback pettiness on her mind, with Solar right in the middle. It was Velvet that came online saying, yeah, I got my man. I don't know why you mad at me, woman. You had him. I didn't have a chance for love as the chiefess. I had Nature Boy who beat me senseless. You had love, Neytiri. You didn't know how to handle love. Ain't that right, Linda? You don't know how to handle love, Neytiri, right? So it was weird because Velvet was saying, you're not even handling the glizzy properly. She was basically talking to Neytiri saying, you're not even handling the glizzy properly. Why? It's like so weird because that's a weird thing to be going in your head when you're entering a relationship with somebody. It's like you've got payback on your mind. That is toxic. And as you can tell on this thumbnail, Solar was basically writing, and I believe Solar was talking about Velvet had said, I was toxic with Neytiri. I owe her an apology. I mean, it shows a sign of some sort of maturity for somebody to feel like you gotta owe an apology. But she the one that said she was toxic. We all know it was a toxic bond from the beginning. That means either some toxic situation brought y'all together, or one or both of y'all are toxic, or all of the above. It was a toxic thing. And it sounds like Velvet told Solar that she feels guilty to the bone. Maybe it's Velvet's way of saying she wants to release, get rid of some of her bad karma debt that Solar also talked about. Solar admitting or saying that Velvet's got so much bad karma surrounding her. This dude Solar even said Velvet's kids got bad karma on them already, and they're just little babies. They just little babies. But why do any of you think that Velvet owes Neytiri an apology, or what? We already said she had ill intent, ill motives. Got all this green goo going from one person to the another person, and then there's an outbreak, and then there's an outbreak on the dude, and then there's a more green goo that comes out, and then when they break up, they start complaining about each other. You had all this green goo, bitch. And then she's like, yeah, but you ain't seem to have no problem with any of my green goo. Matter of fact, Solar, you didn't have no problem with my green goo even when I was on my period, nigga. And you're like, damn, that's how nasty and disgusting Solar is. He would go down on a woman who's got green, thick, mucusy discharge coming out of her thing. That wouldn't stop him. She could be on a rag, maybe a little blood clot down there. She could be on her period, on top of the green goo, the discharge, and all of that. He's still gonna put his glizzy all up in that place. That's how dirty these people are. Regardless of the green goo, notwithstanding, right, the period blood, mix all that together, and to him it's like some sort of a smorgasbord or some sort of New Orleans cuisine he's got on his hands right there. He's like, wow, I can have green goo and some of your blood. Oh, that's nasty. Some ketchup on their glizzy. But it is, some people do that. Some people think that's unclean moment to be with the lady. And some people say, hey, but Velvet is the one that says she owes Neytiri an apology. Now, Neytiri first was going back and forth with Carbonation while Velvet was there. Neytiri at one point was on camera trying to tell Velvet to leave that coat. To leave that coat. So their dynamic is interesting, the Velvet Neytiri dynamic, right? Neytiri having her own style, Neytiri having some obvious gifts, natural gift, talent that Neytiri comes to the table with. But damn, Velvet said she has to apologize to Neytiri after breaking up with Solar, or right in that was part of the reason probably why Solar broke up with her. But damn, he was like, you're toxic. And Velvet knows she's toxic. That's the scary part. She might try to apologize her way out of it, but knowing that you are toxic, that's the first step of the program. How can you help anybody else? How can you be a good parent? How can you be a good partner if you're toxic? And you know why there's toxic? Because you were just part of a toxic cult. You've been there for years. You were that cult, Velvet. That's why you're so toxic. You were becoming Nature Boy. You were forgiving Nature Boy, going back, forgiving. And we're not going to talk about the big deal, which is you opened your universe to this vampire. That's different. You opened your universe, your yoniverse to this vampire. You said, come on in, demon. Come into my heart, you demon. Come into my heart, you demon. Come in today. Come in to stay. Come into your heart, you demon. And it was deep because it was spiritual, physical, mental colonization that Nature Boy did to that woman, right? Bronze flap out, God. It was really a colonization that Nature Boy did to these people. Nature Boy, they were colonizing these subjects. And Velvet the whole time was mad that people like Zoka, her subjects like Neytiri, how are they going to get love when she is the chiefess and Nature Boy was giving her his ass to kiss? You know, his ass to kiss. So that's toxic. Velvet wanted to be number one. She thought she could change Nature Boy. That's toxic. Let us remember, ladies and gentlemen, there is the one toxic that we're all aware of, but then there's the other toxic that we got to be more, we got to look out for. The other toxic that says you think you can change somebody. Like Velvet is the only one that Nature Boy tried to do the whole monogamy thing. He didn't really try. He was just talking some Willy Bobo, as they said in New York at one time. He was just talking in her head, whatever she wanted to hear. And it was a big game to get her, to convince her to stick around. He's going to do the monogamy thing. Yeah. And she was like, okay, he loved me and only me. Kind of dizzy like that. All for all for his glizzy. So he played her, but she tried to change Nature Boy, and that is toxic. Trying to change people, right? Thinking that you are something that somebody's gonna change for. That is toxic. Dizzy for the glizzy. So she was toxic from the beginning, even with Nature Boy. You know what I mean? Toxic. Ask Yaya if she was toxic. Toxic! Yaya didn't want no Velvet to be involved in none of that. Ask Zoka. Neytiri had her toxic side. She was jumping from man to man, doing anything she can to be the number one womb man, I guess, right? She tried. She tried. Dudes was married already. Dr. York's son, she tried. She thought she was more talented than Velvet. She thought she was smarter than Velvet. But we see here that the women are all Judas. And that's what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. Women who are dizzy for the glizzy. Right? It's unbelievable. And they become Judas. Over the dick, y'all. Look at Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion is the poster girl. Dizzy for somebody else's glizzy. That's what that case was about. Megan Thee Stallion and her thirst for her best friend's man. No self-respect, no real moral code you're working with. You're just all thinking about yourself, and you're trying to win up, do a little one up on somebody. You're trying to have something on somebody, right? Because everybody wants to be able to say, I am unique. I attract a certain vibe. Right? It's because I'm such a good person that this person is with me. But if you notice that that person is also spending time with some crab ass niggas, it makes you feel like, all right, well, she ain't really like me for me, because I'm, you know what I'm saying? Because she's liking crab ass niggas too. It's like, damn. She's like, damn. She can't be loving me. Whoa. But not all women feel like they have to apologize to their former friend, because this is amazing, right? You have this thing called patriarchy that a lot of people complain about, where men are out here trying to run women and run women ragged, right? But what you will find in certain cases, that it's not so much that some women really want to end patriarchy. No, some of them just want to be able to run patriarchy themselves. They want to be able to maintain status quo, but be at the top, but be in the one making control, making decisions. So those women making the decisions, yeah, they can shit on other women. They can discriminate. They can exploit other women. They could put other women on a pole to go dancing. Other women can go grab and snatch up some women and put them on a blade. It's still patriarchy when you got a female pimp. And here we are, chasing the glizzy, disloyal, ending friendships, betrayal all over the place, all over some glizzy that you're going to end up gobbling up, consuming, digesting, and eliminating, getting rid of. Right? You're not thinking ahead of time, right? They're just not thinking ahead of time. But Velvet feels like she owes Neytiri an apology. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe you do, Velvet, because Velvet, you made sort of a fool of yourself going online. And you didn't just make it about you, you wanted to further dig a knife in the back. She may have been already dealing with the breakup of a guy that she swore was her twin flame. This Neytiri young lady is all on camera saying she swore that this Solar individual was her twin flame. So Velvet knows all this. Velvet knows. Velvet knows everything she bragged about at one point. She wanted to drive the sword, the knife, into the back of Neytiri. She wasn't sorry for taking your mans and them. This dude Solar was calling Velvet at 3 o'clock in the morning with Neytiri sleeping right next to him. And it is what it is, who cares? But what we're saying is Velvet now feels like she wants to apologize. And who knows, maybe that'll bring Neytiri out of the woods. Neytiri's been silent and quiet. Who knows? But this is just a video just highlighting again how sometimes women are very foul to each other. And it's often in the furtherance of some dude's agenda or to get with a dude that your friend was with, the Megan Stallion treatment that people get in a lot of y'all relationships with your girlfriends. There's a lot of energy saying, you know what, I'm not going to work with black men if you're straight. And I'm not going to work with XYZ, right? You got some women out here that would never work with no straight man. They're completely comfortable and they would prefer working with, supporting black women just because they're black women, right? And then what happens? You get screwed over by that black woman. She could be your best friend. This whole let me pick a gender, let me pick this group over here because that group treats me better. Yeah, just be careful with that. It's always individual, case by case, one by one. And here we got Velvet wanting to apologize to Neytiri after taking her man and rubbing it and sticking it in her back. Well, yeah, well, you can have a problem with me dating your man now, but you weren't saying that back in the day when you wanted to sleep with my man Nature Boy and I tried to tell you not to, but you went ahead and did it anyway. Oh. See, so it gets real crazy and toxic when you're trying to start and begin a relationship under false pretenses with toxic intent, and it always leads to crazy karma. And everybody already told them you shouldn't be dealing with each other like that, you dummies. You shouldn't be dealing with each other like that, you dummies. Toxic trauma bonds never last more than a month, right? Is that the time period we're dealing with? Toxic trauma bonds, especially if you all come from a cult and you haven't had babies together. You're not really like that. And one of you has been a chiefess. Whoa, she had a power dynamic over Neytiri and over Solar. The chiefess Velvet had a power dynamic over them. It was Velvet's husband that forced Solar to help Velvet with her pregnancy. Like a little errand boy. You're a little errand boy, Solar. Go get that. Go fetch. That's what Solar was. And it is what it is, y'all. So Velvet is thinking about apologizing to JENAE. What would she say? How would she say it? Does JENAE deserve that apology? It's not up for us to figure out. But Skywalker says, because Velvet ain't exactly a good sis, says So Sovereign. And Bree Walker reminds us that they got crabs in their glizzy too, in the whole glizzy area. Yeah, one thing for sure, Vel is not what you call a good sis. And Bree Skywalker again says, Velvet ain't even loyal to her own familia. She definitely don't care about them women's. That's right. And as we saw in a sketch or two before, she may not be as loyal as she could be to her own kids. Some people are saying they had to go out of their way to help her take care of her kids. And so, you see with the mattress situation and what they got. So, you just want to hope. And as Solar leaves that relationship, Solar says Velvet needs to learn how to be a mother. So say what you want about Solar. Solar right now is not responsible for any little people. Velvet's the one responsible for two whole other people. So she's got to make sure she's not toxic. She's got to get all the toxic shit out of her system. And it is what it is, yo. And I just wanted to leave that here, make this little quick little video, bullshit type thing. And see what you had to say. Leave a comment or something like that. It's Friday night. It's time to go crazy, right? I'm about to go out. You know what I mean? Have a good time, right? I'm not gonna order no glizzies. I don't have no glizzies in my system. But hopefully y'all gonna have a good weekend, right? Sunfruit, you're gonna have a good weekend, I hope. So Sovereign. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night over there. Bree, Skywalker, and of course, Jayla Monk. Kendra said how Velvet was her best friend. I thought that was odd. Yeah, very interesting. And I think it's interesting that Kendra says she's the one that she was never beaten on. She was never yoked up. She was never smacked up. She was probably never kicked or punched. Kendra is one who maybe ratted on people or she did some smacking of other women, but Nature Boy never beat up on her, which is very interesting. She's going to keep opening the boxes. That was the beginning, right? When Velvet was beginning the thing with Solar, she was talking about opening up a box. I got this box. And she's sitting there wondering, do I open this box? Do I open this box? So she opened the box. And she opened her box. With the kids laying right there next to her. In a twin mattress. With no bed spring or nothing, no frame. Just mattress pondy floor. Right next to. So yeah, it's so weird, yo. So they can apologize all they want, man. They gotta build their own shit right now. And hopefully that means Velvet would chill, lay off the glizzy, go on a glizzy diet, become anti-glizzy, become a vegan, right? She can become a vegan. Oh, what? Yeah, you can become a vegan, no glizzies. And try to be kinder to your female friends, ladies. I'm telling you, there's so many women out here that are like bragging about having no female friends. You got women out here who are bragging about having no female friends because of the cattiness, because of the jealousy, because of the envy and all of that goes on. And we've seen in real life, well, maybe not our personal lives, but we've seen with Megan Thee Stallion example. We see with Velvet and the cult life and the toxic bullshit that's created that women are not treating each other well. So when we hear people like Malcolm X say things like black women are the most neglected, the most disrespected, black women are the most or the least protected. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not supposed to just look at black men when he says that. We're not supposed to just be looking at white men when he says that. We're also supposed to be looking at black women, right? that could also least protect black women. He was also saying it's also some black women that are neglecting black girls and black women. That there are also some black women that are disrespecting. So that's how, when you are supposedly at the bottom of a respect totem pole, or when you are at the bottom of a respect food chain, when some people call you the bottom, like a black woman at the bottom, then that must logically also mean fellow black women could also be involved in disrespecting self, neglecting herself, which is a black woman, but also neglecting her sister, right? Her sister, her niece, her daughter, her mother, and all of that right there. So that's important to know. Whenever you hear black women are the most disrespected, least protected, XYZ most neglected, it's also black women being or doing the neglecting of fellow black women. It's also, in some cases, right, black women being a fraud, like Black Lives Matter, and it's affecting other black women. Sometimes it's black women also doing the disrespecting, the least protecting, and the most neglecting of others. And it's sad. That's just how it goes sometimes, y'all. Believe it or not. Oh, yeah. We are all bad to each other, one another. And there's no monolithic group that's just pure. And it is what it is, y'all. So, something to think about when it comes to the cult, other women relationships in general. Be easy, y'all, and make sure you pick wisely who your friends are going to be. And, keep an eye on them and all that and see what happens in the long run. And I'm going to talk to y'all maybe tomorrow. Enjoy your Friday, y'all. This is your boy Marwan, live here in Jersey City, New Jersey. Right? Oh, I'm not going to be pulling out my glizzy on camera. Oh, no. It might come back to haunt me later on, right? I have this whole thing, and then people might try to extort me and try to tell me to do some crazy shit, or they'll release my videos and they'll release my pictures as if I'm in Coppin State University or something. I might get blackmailed and extorted. So I'm not going to pull out my glizzy. I'm not going to be shooting my glizzy on camera. No way. No way, Jose. On that note, though, I'll talk to y'all soon. Make sure you put something in your stomach. Eat tonight. Light fruit. Maybe you got some cherries in the fridge, some fruit, some nuts, some berries. And maybe having a little fun tonight if you are. Talk to y'all soon, right? Be easy. Mind over matter. One love. You're lucky just to have just one love. Bum, bum, ba, bum.